Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited today to take you along as I plan for my week. I am a busy mom. Even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, I think sometimes I'm often busier than when I was working between homeschooling, tutoring, gardening, chickens, bread, all the things that we do. And so I wanted to show you guys one trick that I have learned to getting through a busy week, making sure that I'm staying on top of things without overdoing it, still building in some time for rest, and also remembering that every little bit counts. So come on while we go ahead and go through my planner. So the first tip that I have for you is have a place where you can do a weekly brain dump. Brain dumps for me are where I just know that I can list out everything I want to accomplish in a certain amount of time. So for me, I typically run in my planner and I go week by week. I have this paper. This is an insert for the Happy Planner. This is one of the notepads that you can buy. I'm not affiliated with them. I would love to be. But I have used their planner for quite some time, and I like it because I can take things in and out of it versus something like a spiral bound planner. For me though, this page is my brain dump page where I can write down just things that I know need to get accomplished, but not appointments. So typically for me, it's something like cleaning or decluttering, something specific that I want to get done this week. Or maybe I want to do something specific in the garden, or I need to order something, or I just need to kind of remember to do something, but it's not an appointment that's set for a specific day. So you can see here, I have already started to fill out this week's to-do list. This is my brain dump. So this week, these are things that I want to accomplish at some point. Okay, so this is how I set up my week. Of course, I have my days of the week here. I go ahead and section this off. This planner layout actually comes in 3 major sections, but for me, I just need it to be more visually broken up. So I keep my appointments at the top, and I just use a ruler to draw a line. This here for me is my morning time. This is the time when I get up before my kids and things that I want to accomplish before they wake up. My afternoon I leave open also, and this is typically a bigger chunk because when the kids are done with school, this is my time to get typically my big household things accomplished, either before or after tutoring. For me here, I have things that I want to film for YouTube, and then any errands that I want to run, I keep those in a separate day. So for example, this week I need to go to the thrift store. Our thrift store only takes donations on Tuesdays, so I know I need to go then. I keep my errands separate from my appointments because my appointments are things that are scheduled, the dentist, field trips, things like that. They are things that are not optional to do that day, whereas errands, if it's not something that has to be done, for example, like the thrift store only on Tuesday, then I put them down here because I need to get them done during the week. But if something were to come up during that day and kind of derail what our plans are, then it's not a big deal for me. I know that I can move these errands around. I also keep my tutoring kids listed here. Of course, I've covered up their names for privacy's sake, but I track whether my students come that week for tutoring because I do tithe from the money that I get for tutoring. And so I need an accurate count of how many times I've seen that student this month so that I can accurately tithe to our local church. Okay, so I've gone ahead and written out my morning time. My morning time for me, I usually try to get up before my kids, either an hour or an hour and a half. Typically that puts me getting up between 6:30 and 7 right now. My goal is to make that a little bit earlier, but with the time change, it's gone back to being dark in the mornings, and I just honestly really struggle with that. So I have just adjusted my alarm for right now, And I get up, like I said, between 6:30 and 7 when the light starts to peek through. I've kind of been just watching it. And then I will start to shift my alarm back in 15-minute increments, probably starting next week or so that I can get back. I was getting up at 6 o'clock every morning, and then when the time shifted, it just really messed with my system. So I'd like to get back to getting up at 6 a.m., but for right now, this is where we're at. So in the mornings, the first thing I try to do is I try to go outside and walk my driveway and listen to an audiobook. I am not a person that can listen to an audiobook when I am cleaning the house or when there are other people around me. My ADHD is just too bad for that. So for me, just being able to walk up and down our driveway, I only walk for about 10 or 15 minutes, and just catch a snippet of that audiobook. It is a really nice, quiet start to my day. The morning sun is really great for lowering your cortisol, getting your melatonin set for the rest of the day to help with my sleep patterns. And it's just a nice way to wake up. I'm also doing a Bible study with some other friends of mine. So I'm either read the chapter that we're doing for that week, or I do my reading of my Bible. And then I also try to get my workout in first thing in the morning. That doesn't always happen, but I find that if I can go ahead and get it done, then I'm finished with it for the day. Then finally, the last thing that I always make sure that I do first thing is I do something with my laundry, whether it's putting a load in the washer, swapping a load to the dryer, or getting it out and throwing it on my bed to fold or whatever. But I just make sure that I'm always doing something with my laundry. And yes, it does get a little time consuming for me to write this out every day, but I am a huge list person. I like to check things off. I'm very successful when I do that. So for me, writing it out and being able to check it off each day really helps my brain just get that sense of accomplishment and really helps me stay on top of things. Okay, the next section you're going to see for me is my afternoon time. And this, again, is time for me to get things accomplished on my to-do list. Now, I will tell you, one of the best secrets I have ever learned is about this power of 10 minutes. And so for me, I'm going to write down my little reminder. Again, I need a checklist. It keeps me motivated and it keeps me organized. But the power of 10 minutes has honestly changed not only my productivity, but also my attitude about doing things. Okay, so let's talk about the power of 10 minutes. Now, if you have ever tried to start a workout regimen, or even if you go to the gym already, then I'm sure you've heard in some case that if you don't feel like working out, just tell yourself that you'll only work out for 5 or 10 minutes, and that once you get started, of course, you'll be so motivated because you're already at the gym or you're already in your workout clothes that you'll just continue to work out. And this kind of goes along with that principle. The difference for me is that I actually set a 10-minute timer. So when I am looking at my to-do list, I often get procrastination fear, I guess. It seems very overwhelming, or all of these tasks on here will typically take me more than 10 minutes. And so for me, my brain starts trying to do math of how much time do I have? How much time can I actually put towards this? Oh, I don't have enough time to do that, so I'm not even gonna start it. And if I don't have anything on my list that actually would only take me 10 minutes, I often would find myself in kind of just this avoidance slump where I wouldn't get anything accomplished. And then I would be panicking on the weekend trying to cram everything in because I had procrastinated and not done anything because I was afraid I didn't have enough time to do it. When I started thinking about using 10-minute increments, however, it forced my brain to start looking at tasks in a different way, and in a way that became like suddenly more manageable. And I really think this is just truly a mental game, but it's fascinating to me at how effective of a strategy it really is. So for example, this week I need to process my collards. I need to pick them, I need to wash them, I need to strip the ribs out, I need to blanch them, and then I need to can them. And if I were to do that all in one day, then honestly, it would take me the entire day. My lower back would be killing me. I would be grumpy. It would just probably turn out, it wouldn't probably turn out to be a hot mess. It would just turn out to be a hot mess. So for me, the power of 10 minutes is I set my timer and I go out and I do one of those steps for 10 minutes. Now, in this particular instance, I have to go in order because I have to pick the collards in order to then process them. So for 10 minutes, it might only be that I'm picking collards and I'm getting them in my bucket and I'm filling that up with water so that they can start soaking to get the dirt, the bugs, the pollen off, whatever. But that's still 10 minutes that I've done towards that process. So then later, either later that day or even the next day if I needed to go out there, I've already gotten one chunk of that done. Now I can bring them in, I can prep them, or I could, and then I can blanch them or whatever. But now what seems like an all-day task, or what could be an all-day task, now gets to be broken up over either several days or even just different chunks throughout the day. So for example, when I'm outside, when I'm done walking, I could take 10 minutes, pick my collards, get them soaking in a bucket of water. Then when we're done with school, I could take another 10 minutes, do the next step, and so on and so forth. And so this has really allowed me to kind of mentally change how I think about getting things done. So if you are a very all or nothing kind of person, and I very much am, this will take some work, but I promise you it is going to alleviate so much self-imposed pressure off of you to just do the 10-minute rule. And if, like me, you don't have a good internal time clock, I honestly will set a timer for 10 minutes. That means at the end of 10 minutes, if I still have time and I'm feeling good and I'm like, nope, okay, let's keep going, then I can keep going. But that's a choice I get to make because that timer is telling me, nope, you've put in your 10 minutes, you've done your time. Honestly, most of the time, unless I have an obligation that's keeping me from continuing, honestly, I will typically continue for a little bit longer. But if I don't continue, that's okay. I've still done something towards that task. So for example, I want to clean the outside of our house windows this week. I want to get in there. I want to take the screens off and wash everything and get the dirt out of the window tracks and all of that. That is a daunting task. We don't have a ton of windows, but we have enough that is a daunting task. So for me, even if my 10 minutes is take all the screens off, and then my next 10 minutes at another time is wash just the glass or wash just the tracks or scrub just the tracks or whatever, my brain has now started to think of how can I break this task up into chunks where I don't have to do it all at once. I don't have to block off a whole afternoon and I don't have to feel overwhelmed. But I also don't have to feel like I didn't get anything accomplished because I didn't do anything towards that task. This also works really well, whether for other deep cleaning type activities or even office type work. I am working on getting all of my photos from the online platform that I have them on and turning them into photo books by year. That takes a lot of time, honestly. It really does. Even though I'm not getting super fancy and decorating those books, I really am just kind of taking all the pictures and cramming them in an album. But I want a printed hard copy, just in case something were to happen with the internet. You never know. We had that outage where Facebook and Instagram and AT&T and all kinds of things went down. You just don't know. The internet is not a secure place to keep things forever and ever and ever. And so I'm going year by year. Normally, I would want to do that all in one day. And, the really ambitious side of me says, do that all in one day. But the reality of it is, I don't have 2 hours ever to sit down at the computer and accomplish that task. So for me, my 10 minutes one day might be picking out the album or picking out the style of photo book and getting all the photos loaded to get ready to put in the photo book. And then the next day I might do 10 more minutes of, okay, I'm just gonna put these pictures in for 10 minutes until the timer goes off. But eventually 10 minutes and 10 minutes and 10 minutes and 10 minutes, it will all add up and you can walk away feeling accomplished. Another great thing about 10 minutes though is that it also allows you to kind of multitask more efficiently. Like I said, I don't have 2 hours to sit down and do a photo book, but I do have 10 minutes, especially while my youngest son is doing one of his silent reading blocks. Okay, we do those for 15 minutes at a time. So while he's reading next to me, I'm online starting my photo book. When his timer goes off for reading, okay, that's my time. I turn that off. I'm done with it. While he's doing something independent, I still have 10 minutes that I could start on something else. I could do those collards, or I could work on wiping baseboards or something. Again, setting my timer. But now I've made progress in each of these areas. And I know there are going to be some people out there that argue that, well, if you would just sit down and, do 10 more minutes on the computer, you would have that particular thing done faster. And while that might be right, for me, I don't think it is. Because for me, I look at that as I don't have this huge chunk of time to commit to it, but I do have 10 minutes. So let me do something, and then it's accomplished. The last tip I have for you is just a very simple phrase, and you could put it on a Post-it note, you could hang it in your bathroom, you could hang it in your kitchen. I actually made a cute little background, and you can't see it. Well, I put it on my watch. But this phrase for me is no 0 days. And it goes along the lines with 10 minutes at a time. But for me, no 0 days is very simply, have I done something towards each of my goals or towards each of the things that I wanted to accomplish for that day? That it doesn't matter how little or how much, but did I accomplish at least one thing towards my goal? So maybe I didn't work out for the full hour. Maybe I got only half of my workout in, but I did something, okay? Maybe I didn't get to, finish the whole photo book, but I did something. Maybe I didn't get to deep clean the entire bedroom like I wanted, but I got the baseboards done and I wiped all down the picture frames and the walls. I did something. And so no 0 days is such an easy reminder that even baby steps towards a bigger goal still count. It doesn't lessen the overall effect if you didn't finish the entire task in one sitting. Because as much as I would love to be able to do each of these tasks all at one time, the reality of it is it's not going to happen, okay? I have kids, I work from home, I cook almost all of our meals from scratch. We have a garden, we have animals. My oldest is in high school and he interns at our church and goes to youth. And sometimes he helps teach karate. And so I have to drive him there because he's not driving yet. Or we have homeschool co-op, or we need to go see the kid's grandmother, or things come up. And so doing something towards each of my goals for the day or for the week gives me that freedom to go, but I did something. So no 0 days is a really powerful reminder for me, and it's something very simple that at the end of the day I can look back and go, but I did something. I may not have read the entire chapter in the Bible that I wanted to read, but did I read some of it? Great, I got that done. You know, I did something towards my goal. Just like when you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to drop 10 pounds in a day. You're going to drop 10 pounds over time by eating healthier and moving more. And, you know, there's different aspects to it. So it's not everything at once. It's all those little things that kind of stack on top of each other that then create, you know, the desired result. So I hope this video kind of gave you an idea. If you are struggling with how to not procrastinate or feel motivated to get some things done, especially as we move into spring and we've got more on our plates with being outside and enjoying the weather, but also trying to get, you know, gardening done and stuff like that and finish up our school year when really all I want to do is kind of just read books in the sunshine. I hope this gave you guys some motivation, and hopefully as you go through your week, you can remember, as long as you have no 0 days, you've done something right. We'll talk to you soon.